Hi Lancers, this is Robin Thompson and this is week 2 of MPA 585 Political Economy, and we're going to be talking this week about market failure, and I'm going to dive into the mortgage crisis, or better known as the Great Recession of 2008, and I hope you enjoy this presentation. So before we get into the mortgage crisis, we're going to talk a little bit about what a public good is, and I've listed here some examples of that. But some characteristics is that a public good is, even though I'm using it, I'm not taking away any availability from you. I can consume it just as much as you do. Whether you never use it and I use it a lot, it's still available to everybody and it doesn't change. And another part of a public good is that it doesn't matter if I contribute and you don't, or I contribute a lot and you contribute a little bit. The benefit is the same regardless of what each individual is contributing. So think of that as the police and fire department. Whether you are paying taxes or you're doing anything towards helping fund that entity, it's available to you. If you call the police or the fire department, they're going to come. It doesn't matter if you're unemployed, if you're working, if you're rich, it doesn't matter. There's no, it's available to everybody. Just like highways and the freeways or even national security, you're still afforded the same defense and that everybody else is too. It doesn't matter how much you use it or how much you pay for it. And the lighthouse here, a captain on a ship, doesn't matter if they're paying for anything or not, they're still going to reap the benefits of that guidance from the lighthouse. So just kind of put that in perspective. So the mortgage bailout of 2008, we have Freddie Mac and we have Fannie Mae. Both of them play a important role in the housing finance system. They are created by Congress, and they help stabilize and they help bring affordability to the mortgage market. So what they technically do is they have funds that are available to thousands of banks, mortgage companies, and they help to make mortgage loans affordable for everybody. So they also buy mortgages from lenders, and they do so in this sense of a mortgage-backed security. So they help individuals and families buy homes, and then they, by doing so, they're helping stabilize the market. They're helping bring money into the economy. So when the market went down, or we should say this housing bubble or this burst of this crisis here in the United States, there was a lot of incentive for loans to, for people to take more risk in their loan. So they encouraged, not they meaning Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, but just, banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, Chase, all these banks, they encouraged people to take out loans that essentially were risky, knowing that they couldn't afford them. Stated income loans, they didn't have to provide any proof of what they made that the loan was affordable to them. So over time, the rates started to rise, housing prices started to drop. And so people who initially bought these homes thinking that I'm just going to buy and I'm going to resell or I'm going to refinance, they weren't able to do so. The market changed, and there was this increase in, mortgage defaults and foreclosures. People couldn't afford their homes, and they couldn't sell them because their homes weren't worth what they bought them for. So they were, essentially upside down. And I recall I worked in the private sector actually during this time for JP Morgan Chase, and not on the lending side, but I was on the side where you were trying to offer these loan modifications and trying to find out solutions that would help, borrowers stay in their home, because the last thing you wanted to do was have another vacant property. So, some people got homes that they knew they couldn't afford, lenders exulted in predatory lending, but people just wanted a home. This is like the American dream. You're going to do whatever you need to do to get in a home, and if someone's going to give you a mortgage loan to do so, you're going to take it. So this was the biggest bailout in United States history, and you have to think about, we just recently had the AIG insurance bailout. You had the auto industry bailout for GM and Chrysler. So this bailout was needed to ensure the functioning of the housing market. And while Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac thought that this was, the bailout was going to be like a temporary solution or maybe a band-aid, but the market didn't improve. And so they didn't have any way to recoup all the money that they'd spend out, and they had to give these large banks, money to help bail them out of these loans. So you can see here it's kind of like a gamble. You've got Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae here, and you got your taxpayer here, and you're gambling. And it doesn't matter what you put into it, you lose. People lost everything. People lost their homes. It's very unfortunate. And just, this diagram here on the right kind of just gives you some idea about the money that was paid out, during this Great Recession. So public goods and market failure, the burden here just kind of gives this picture here of, not everybody's paying their fair weight or their fair share. Some people are getting a free ride. Taxpayers at different levels, depending upon your income, or paying more or less or none at all. But it's kind of a game, and not always what people contribute they're going to get out of, and oftentimes people who contribute a lot end up getting nothing out of it, and the people who don't contribute at all, oftentimes the perception is that they're getting everything for free. So although government intervention is needed, it is hard sometimes because people don't always end up being accountable or responsible for their part. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great week.